So, your liberal Democratic champion, Nancy Pelosi, the one that you guys were circle jerking yourselves about when she did that weird fucking awkward clap to Donald Trump, this bitch said that the best way to get health care for all Americans is through the ACA and through the private sector. Link of the article down below, whatever. This is what we're not doing right with this messaging as far as healthcare. We're not. You want healthcare through the private sector being a capitalistic structure. Capitalism, and especially in this structure, not all employees receive healthcare. Like, not all of the jobs that people have give healthcare benefits. On top of the fact that capitalism does not provide 100% of the people jobs. Capitalism is structured in a way where there will always be, and there always has to be, a percentage of the population that is unemployed. And it's not for anything that they did, it's because they don't have enough jobs. There is always going to be a percentage of the population who will not have access to health care if health care is directly attached to the private sector. It's like, let's say just 4% of the population, the 4% that's unemployed, or the 4% of the population that doesn't have health care at all. Let's say every last one of those people, this is a hyperbole, I know, but let's say every last one of those people gets sick. They don't live in a commune somewhere in bumfuck nowhere, Alaska. These people are scattered all throughout the Union. So let's say you have a section of the population that's also, they don't really use their health care because they're young or because they're anti-vaxxers or whatever. We need to protect the union as best as possible. There is a benefit to ensuring that as many people as possible have access to health care, because you do not want a large swath of your population dying. Like, it's not what we want. That's not how a union works. I legitimately feel, especially through this healthcare conversation, we as citizens do not talk about our role and the importance of having a citizenry. We don't discuss that. We don't discuss the relationship between the two. We don't discuss the necessity and connection that we have between each other, regardless of whether we like each other or not. Like, we live here. Most of us cannot leave here. Most of us don't have passports. We are stuck with each other. So it's important to ensure that all of us are healthy, because if a lot of us aren't, that's going to hurt us. Like, we're all living in the same house. It doesn't make sense to me. And I think that a lot of liberals let this kind of sentiment slide because they themselves are totally ignorant. Oh, that was beautiful. Sorry, birds. They're totally ignorant to what the fuck it means to be a citizen, why it's important, like on the macro level, why it's important to ensure that your fellow citizens are healthy and safe and not dying. You know what I'm saying? Like, the way that we have things structured ensures, guarantees that there are going to be people who do not have access to healthcare. And healthcare and health insurance are not the same thing. I'm saying there is a population, there's a section of our population that are incapable of going to see a doctor. Even if they need one, even if they want one, they will not be able to get one. And there's too many of them. There's too many people who can't see a doctor. And that will harm us. Like, that's the whole point of this. That's the whole point of trying to get Medicare for all, is so that the very least, the least of us, the people who are guaranteed by the capitalistic structure that we are hell-bent on keeping, will have access to something that is fundamentally necessary. Like, you need access to healthcare. You need it. Since we live in a capitalistic society, we have removed the ability for town doctors to exist. Like, we have made this society built in a way where it's hard for people to survive, and we still need to take care of them. Because whether you like it or not, America, the country, is not a business. You are not an employee of the state. You are a member of it. Like, you are a participant of it, whether you vote or not. Like, you are a part of this shit, and whether you vote or not, you will be affected by this shit. Like, we are not a corporation. There are other factors and pressures that are placed upon the citizenry outside of economics that we need to take into consideration. And when economics fails you, when the private sector fails you, it is our job as citizens to take care of each other when they fail. And I guarantee you, capitalism is going to fucking fail. It's structured to. It's structured to have cracks for people to fall through. Why is it so hard? Like, I get why Nancy Pelosi says this shit. She's getting paid to say this shit. What I don't get is liberals who allow this shit to be said and allow themselves to be completely absolved of their responsibility as fucking citizens. Like, this is why we are here. This is the structure that we've all agreed on.